They have stated it on the record. Done. They've
Can you repeat
said
that?
Therefore, what's that?
Can you repeat that? Just the last bit?
Yeah. So the Chief Medical Officer of Health and Alberta Health Services have all said on the record that there is no proof of virus. Basically, they said there is no material evidence that you request to help prove your case that the Public Health Act is moot. What they basically said is we don't have that evidence. Therefore, that evidence was necessary in order to draw up the Public Health Act against COVID-19 pandemic. So in that COVID-19 pandemic needed that science. They need the science to back up what they're doing to us. They don't have the fucking science. And it's on record now. It's openly on the record. It's there. So I'm asking everybody under the Freedom of Information Act, get my transcripts, get everything that I've done in court in the last couple months, get all of that, ask me for it. I have copies of it. I have all the copies as well. I will email them to anybody who wants them, as well as I will get the transcripts from this.
Again, Pat? I got people online here that are watching live.
So you can get me at real, REAL _Patrick_King on Instagram. You can get me on TikTok at Canadian Patriot. You can also get me on Twitter as Canadian Patriot 77. I don't have Facebook once again. I don't have YouTube. I don't have anything with Google because there's only one other person in North America who has my trophy, and that is Donald Trump. Whereas you cannot use any Google product. So basically, I've tried to open Facebook. How many people here have more than one Facebook account? Right?
No.
Well,
I get people to post for me.
There's a few people
when I'm
here who have
banned.
multiple accounts. I can't even get a multiple account. Every time I open up an account, they get my biometrics on my face and they shut me down. I have them censoring me majorly. I wouldn't be surprised if all your feeds go down. I also have all my
That's why mine keeps going down.
all the stuff that I've done has all been erased. It's all off the internet now. There's no proof of anything that I've done with the investigations with the wetsuits and First Nations, with the hereditary chiefs, with the pipeline, the $42 billion infrastructure project. Even my traveling to Montreux, Switzerland to the Bilderberg conference, where I filmed 3 Canadian delegates there that had access to $250 billion of Canadian taxpayers' money, of which, if you're an Albertan, you should be very pissed off. $167 billion of that came from Alberta equalization payments, and no to equalization. Now they're over there at a sneaky secret Bilderberg conference, taking our money, paying these guys off to implement these laws, what they were here for. And the 3 main topics were what's in the news today, China, the weaponization of social media, and AI, or artificial intelligence. What you're seeing is these masks are being put on your face so these cameras can learn how to read
your eyes.
Read your eyes. And this has all been implemented, and it was all the topic at the 2019 Bilderberg conference, at which I was at, and I attended, and I was there, at which I also caught CIA Director Michael Pompeo there, and Donald Trump's own son-in-law, Jared Kushner.
No surprise.
They were there. And all of that footage is gone. I can't even get it. I got it on hard copies, but if I put it back up, it'll go. They'll take it all down. As well as, remember when we had train blockades? Well, I interviewed the hereditary chiefs. I caught them on camera openly admitting, we don't take non-government organized funding from outside organizations because we know the implications of it. Now, this is right on the camera. And then his brother turns around and says, well, we do take NGO funding from the Tides Foundation, but for water quality. Well, when we had the train blockades up, I dumped that film. I dumped that 5-minute part of the film. I put it out, and then 3 days later, poof, all the train blockades were gone. Now, we also traced back all the organizations that were in on that train blockade to stop our gross domestic products from getting to market, which is a hindrance against the Canadian. That's an attack on Canadians. And what that was I also traced it back to, in Alberta, Rachel Notley and her little minions, and you know because I've told Rachel Notley this to her face, have a program and grant program where they were funding these groups of people, these indigenous groups, these people to go and disrupt the trains. And I've got it on record. I've also got them funding BLM and Antifa. Wow. And good luck for me to try and get that out. So I'm in need of every one of you guys' help.
I would get that out for you.
Everybody needs to get that information out. I have all of it. I just can't put it out there.
I can put it out for you.
But I can give it to you guys and put it out there.
Absolutely.
We didn't lose today. As much as I feel defeated today, I do. because I figured the law, the Constitution that we supposedly have, and the Charter of Rights that is illegal too as well, would help me in this case. And I figured that exercising my rights was what I should do, and I found out that it didn't. But what I did do was I set the groundwork for the rest of Canada. I set the groundwork for everybody else to follow in my footsteps. Now, not only did I do that, I also left my room, and I said this once already before you guys got here, I've left my room for an appeal. So we're not done. I absolutely put down the terminology that I needed to say. We said it, therefore it's on the record. Therefore, when I file my appeal and I go back in, they say, what are your grounds for appeal? Here it is right here. I says, Judge, you took away my right of defense, or you took away my ability of defense by not allowing me this adjournment. And she's like, okay. So we're not done, we're not out, but it is a little kick to the guts because, I figured, these judges will uphold the law.
Just a small
Not yet.
Just a hiccup, just a speed bump in the road, and I'm used to those. At the same time, though, we're gonna hit it. I have to go. We're making a mile today. We're heading to Nanaimo. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in Nanaimo on the 24th. I'm touring with Chris Sky, Kellyanne, myself. We'll be in Nanaimo on the 24th, Victoria on the 25th. Then we're coming back to Penticton and Kelowna on the 28th, 29th. Then we're in Nelson on the 30th, and we're back in Edmonton on August 1st. I want to see everybody out in Edmonton on August 1st. Up, you'll look at the posters; they're all up. Come on out. I'm hoping by that time we'll have even more information for everybody, as well as the transcripts from today's proceedings will be available, and I will have copies, thumb drives. I'm going to print them out. We are not taking this sitting down. We are getting onto the webs again, and we are going to start holding meetings for everybody to see what I've done. If you've got a ticket, reach out to me. If you've got any kind of these stupid laws all across Canada, reach out to me. I made it I was that freaking close.
Wow.
But they got me on technicalities, dangling modifiers, technicalities, disruptions in the judicial system. They know what they're doing. They're scared as hell. They brought in Attorney General Prosecutor, an Aboriginal Attorney General Prosecutor, as well as Dina Hinshaw's lawyer was in there, as well as a special Crown Prosecutor was here. All for a fucking $1,200 ticket.
Wow.
You don't think they're scared? They're scared shitless.
Of course they are.
Especially when they bring in the Attorney General ones. That's bullshit. You know they're like, oh fuck, what's he gonna do next? And that's what we saw.
So we're going to set up an email for anybody who has a ticket. We'll release it in the next day or two for you to get in contact with us so that we can guide you properly how to challenge your tickets.
Yeah. And I've got, so in the challenge, and when I say this, in the challenging of the tickets, I got that close. I was that close. They got me on a freaking technicality, and that's all right.
But there's more importance to this too. Your challenge will also provide us evidence when you subpoena your local public health ministers. They have to provide the courts with a lawful excuse as to why they don't want to attend, and those will be scripted and court documented, and those documentations will be provided to you in your evidence packages and your court packages, and we will require that information and their excuses in order to bring forth challenges on a federal level to eliminate this altogether.
Now I want to say one thing. To anybody who is out there challenging these tickets, I'm going to tell you exactly, here's how they got me. When you subpoena a government official, do not use a justice of the peace.
Use a judge.
Justice of the peace does not have the authority to subpoena a government official. Guess what? They knew that. They still allowed the justice of the peace to fill out that subpoena.
Wow.
They did it on purpose.
Yeah.
And I remember standing in this courtroom, in that hallway right there, in that hallway when the justice of the peace, I said, you didn't put your stamp on it. Oh, it doesn't matter anyway. I'm like, no, I want to make sure everything's tickety-boo on this paperwork. She's like, we're well aware of what you're doing, Mr. King. We're well aware of what you're doing. Oh, well, cool. You know what you're doing. Oh, well, that's awesome. Okay, so this is right. No, they fucking knew what they were doing. They knew that they didn't have the authority to file that subpoena. They knew that. But they allowed me to do it because they knew it would get me into what happened today.
Right.
So when that happened today, not only did that happen, they subpoenaed me at 11:53 on a Sunday morning to be in court less than 24 hours in the court. And I could, that's what's called procedural violation.
Yeah.
And I have them on that, and it's in the transcript.
It's malicious perversion of
Mr.
justice.
King, you have them on procedural
And
violation.
interference of
But You
shit,
got
eh?
cooked on jurisdictional challenge because under jurisdictional challenge, a subpoena cannot be issued by a justice of the peace. We're sorry.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. They didn't expect me to be as educated as I was.
And what
They
they're
didn't.
hoping for is for all this to end today. But that is not the case. So everybody knows we're going to be moving forward because now we have been provided with that lawful excuse, which will be evidence enough to bring forth a challenge to the Public Health Act and put Dina Henshaw on that stand.
Right
and when
on.
she is on that stand, she will be forced to admit that there is no isolation.
We are not
and that
done.
she does not have evidence to support the Public Health Act and its passing in the first place. And then we were going to hold all those who are complicit with this act criminally responsible for malfeasance and crimes on humanity. Thank you.
So what do we